Good morning, welcome all of you. Here we are to discuss on bad thoughts. Bad thoughts is the topic of discussion for this morning. Here it is a quite pleasant morning, but we think we are packed with unpleasant thoughts. Most of the time we are not able to understand. Even we fail to recognize where these bad thoughts or unpleasant thoughts are coming from. But most of the time we get victimized by these bad thoughts or unpleasant thoughts. That is, thoughts these are quite natural. Most of the time in many places with many people, in many occasions, it has been looked, and it can't be unlooked because this flow is there. Unless otherwise somebody is very conscious, and exclusively when he is in the sadhana line, yogic process, he must be aware of these systems. Anyway, we will have a brief discussion on bad thoughts. We'll start from the mother, then we'll try to conclude with the Lord, the Master Sri Aurobindo. Sri Aurobindo says that all that one thinks one is, one can, by the very fact of this thinking, becomes whatever he, that all that one thinks one is, one can, by the very fact of that thinking becomes. So, this knowledge of the fact that all that one thinks one can be. Yesterday, I think we had a brief discussion on imagination. It has to be carried forward. Just imagining is a very positive thing, but thing is that it has to be carried out. It has to be fulfilled like this. Here, the knowledge of the fact that all that one thinks, whatever he thinks, one can be, is a very important key for the development of the being. One thinks, one must be, one can be. That is a very biggest important key to the development of the being, and not only from the point of view of the possibility of the being, but also from that control and choice of what one will to be. That is what one will to be, or one wants to be. From that point of view, it is very important possibility of the being, that lies there. You can find the control and choice of what one will be, and what one wants to be. Again, mother goes forward. This makes us understand the necessity of not admitting into ourselves any thought which destroy our aspiration. See, something has to be done, something has to be to become, something has to be achieved, something to be accomplished. Well, for that actually you must not come into the trap of the bad process, bad tracks like this. So what you have to do, if you are admitting to the bad thoughts, it will destroy your aspiration, or the creation of the truth in your being. The truth which is going to be created or is created, it will be destroyed, and it will destroy your aspiration. It reveals the considerable importance of not allowing what does not want to be. If tell the truth, it has got its good meaning, and not the falsehood. So when in that way, mind will ponder over the what is that falsehood, why it is coming. So it will stay more on the falsehood like this. What one does not want to be, it must the importance is that it must not be allowed, or does not want to do, to formulate itself in the thoughts within the being. So you just forget that one. What you want to be, you concentrate on this positive side. You don't look at the negative side at all, because to think these things are already a beginning of their realization. It is the beginning of their realization. From every point of view, it is bad to concentrate on what one does not want. Bad to concentrate, mother course, and you must know, you must not spend your time in doing that like this. So on what one to reject, what one refuses to be, for the very fact that the thought is there gives the things one wants to reject a sort of right of existence within oneself. Thought of existence, for that actually something would be there, something to be worked out, something must be carried forward. But thing is that what does not one does not want to be, what to does not want, what one somebody wants to reject or refuse. Time and that your resources must not be spent for those purposes. This explains the considerable importance of not letting destructive suggestions most of the time coming. Suggestion you don't know whether it is constructive or destructive. When you are become aware, you are conscious, and you have got sufficient knowledge, then only you become conscious of the thing, the thoughts that actually destroy, the suggestions that are destructive. Thoughts of ill will, hatred, destruction enter. Most of the time it happens. Thoughts of ill will, hatred, destruction, they come. It is a natural process. They are having a flow, they rush in. For merely to think of them is already to give them a power of realization. If you are concentrating more upon this ill will, your hatred, and the destruction, so naturally it is if you are putting stress on that, actually they are actually turning destructive for you. Sri Aurobindo says that thought is not the cause of existence. Thought is not the cause of existence, but an intermediary. It is not the cause of existence. It is coming in between. It is intermediary, and the instrument which gives form to life, to creation, and the control of this instrument is of foremost importance. Thing is that these are not the goal. These are not the cause of existence. Thought is not the cause of existence, but an intermediary. It is a major step, major forward. It is intermediary. It is in between. It is coming. The instrument which gives it form to life, the instrument which gives form to life, to creation, and the control of this instrument is of foremost importance if one wants to disorder and all that is anti-divine to disappear from the creation. All that is destructive, anti-divine, and it is having a negative impact on you. Those things must be majorly concentrated upon, and it must be allowed to go. And finally, mother course on bad thought. One must not admit bad thoughts into oneself. Must not admit, that is the condition. Must not admit bad thoughts to oneself under pretext that they are merely thoughts. They are just thoughts. They are not the. They are just intermediary. It is not the source of existence. It is not the end. So they are tools of execution, and one should not allow them to exist in oneself, because one does not want them to do their work of destruction. If you allow, in other words, if you allow them to come in, to rush in, to work, means it is creating destruction in you. In the old way, your effort, your life is gone. So don't try to allow it to come inside. That is what the requirement. So again, we'll go to the one question was put to is that the second phase we are going to concentrate on unpleasant thoughts. So thoughts, these are the initially we have discussed on bad thoughts. This is only unpleasant thoughts, thoughts that are not pleasant. One question was put to the mother at times. Unpleasant thoughts come and disturb us. How can we get rid of them? Unpleasant thoughts are coming and disturbing. How can we get rid of them? So, mother course about the methods. There are of course several methods generally. Not one or two. There are several methods, but generally it depends on the people. Generally, easiest way to think of something else when it is coming. This thought is rushing like anything, rushing like sometimes it rushes like sea also. So you don't think something else. Don't concentrate more upon those thoughts. That is to concentrate to one's attention upon something that has nothing to do with the thoughts. So simply you try to bypass them. Overcoming is different issue you must overcome at the end. But thing is that initially you try to bypass them. Nothing to do with them, with the thought, and has no connection with that thought. No connection, absolutely no connection. Nothing to do with it. Like reading or some work. you have to do. You don't concentrate more on that. Try to read something, try to do some other work, try to meditate on the divine, so that these thoughts will never cross inside you. Generally something creative, some creative work, very interesting. Do some creative work. You go for the new creation. You try to read something. You try to do some work, or you mostly you do. If you are very much conscious aware in the sadhana, if you are doing yoga, so concentrate on the divine. That is the best solution. Generally, something creative and some creative work. For instance, mother is giving the example. Those who write, while they are writing, let us simply a novelist. So while he is writing, all other thoughts are gone. He is mostly concentrating upon his writing only, story, novel, poem like this. So nothing, these bad thoughts, unpleasant thoughts, they are not at all coming. For he is concentrated on what he is doing. When he finishes writing, if he has not control, other thoughts will come. Suppose one thoughts are coming, that time it is disturbing you. You are writing something, being creative, writing poems, reading novels, or doing something. For that time, you are concentrated on that creative work, and these thoughts are not rushing inside. And after some time, you see if you don't have any control upon you, your thoughts, then it will again rush in. Then it will return. But precisely when one is attacked by a thought, precisely when one is attacked by the thought, one can try to do very creative work. That is one of the best suggestion. Very creative suggestion. Try to be busy. In most of the times, Mother in Sri Aurobindo has explained one thing in the beginning. You know, Sri Aurobindo quote, inactivity is the atmosphere which increases the rising of sex. So these are coming. So when you are when you are busy in creative work, then naturally, so sometimes it stops. And if you don't have a control, it will rush in again. So you have to be very much conscious in doing the creative work. So that they will go. For example, the scientist can do some research work, a special study to discover something that is observing, and that is the easiest way. That is the easiest way. Someone has to do, someone has to go, he has to do something. Suppose mother has initially, mother has given the example writing like novelist, and something second time we can know mother is giving with the example of a scientist. So this scientist, he will be doing the research work, and to find something, to create something. That is the easiest way of discovering or inventing something, writing something, doing the research work, doing the practical work, so that he can easily get rid of of these problems they are facing, and these are the things which he faces in life that will be got rid of. And naturally, those who have begun to control their thoughts, some people are there, they are in the very next stage, who are performing, who are able to begin to control their thought, can make a movement of rejection. Movement of rejection, that is the another thing. Movement of a rejection they can do in the second phase of life. And put aside the thought as one physical object. Rejection, put aside, these are the terms. Movement of the rejection, putting aside the physical aspect, these are the suggestions. But that is more difficult and ask for a much greater mastery. For that, actually, it is need of a greater mastery. You must have mastery over your purpose. If one can manage it, it is more active in the sense that if you reject the movement, if you reject the moment you thought, if you change it off effectively, and consequently or most repeatedly, finally it does not come anymore. You keep repeating the habits, reject it, it will be coming, then I can change it off effectively, constantly, or almost repeatedly, so that it will never come. But in the other case, it can always return, make two methods. If suppose after with these things also it is returning, then another method mother is trying to explain. The third means mother quotes. The third means what we have to do. is to be able to bring down the sufficiently great light from the above. That is the only solution. But initially, people are not aware. They don't know. They are not that much conscious. Initially, you have to be conscious. Second thing, you have to be very much sincere in creative activity, and then you will try to be busy. And the second phase, the continuously thought process you have to control. So these are the things you must do. After these two methods, suppose it is not coming, the third method is that to sufficiently bring down a sufficiently great light from above, which is will be the denial in the deeper sense. In the that is, if the thought which comes from something dark, especially comes from the subconscient, inconscient, or sustained by the instinct, if one can bring down from above the light of true knowledge, actually these thoughts are coming from the inconscient, subconscient, from the instinctive. So this light of true knowledge, a how higher power, and put this light upon the thought. That has to be fast. You must aspire for it, then you have to bring it, then you have to put on your thought, so that there will be the sense one can manage to dissolve or to enlighten or transform it. That is what. Number one, dissolve it, or enlighten, or transform. These are the three methods. You can know: dissolve, and enlighten, and transform it. But it must be the light from the above. This is the supreme method. Supreme method, mother course. It is the supreme method. Very great thing. Supreme method. This is still more difficult, because you don't know higher light. It needs the process of sadhana. It needs the divine grace. It is the divine guidance is necessary. Still difficult, mother course, but it can be done. If one does it, one is cured. Very interesting. It is difficult but not impossible. If one can do it, then he is cured. Not only does the thought not only does the thought not to come back, but the very cause is removed. Not only the thoughts are coming to you, that is removed. It is the process, through the process of the higher life. So again, mother tries to conclude finally. The first step is to think of something else than these thoughts. First step is to think something else that is important, the way to be indefinitely repeated. And the second, to fight. Third, the transformation. So these are the great things. First thing, you must know, you must think of something instead of paying more attention to a thought. So second method is to fight. Third, to transform. When one has reached the third stage, already we have discussed, then not only one cured, but he has made a permanent progress. That is what the required thing mother wants to say. Mother wants to say it is a great thing. Anyway, so we have done a little brief discussion on that, and finally we'll try to repeat couple of lines from Sri Aurobindo on thought, Mother Sri Aurobindo quotes, thought can be a force which realizes itself. It can be a very creative force. Thought can be a force which realizes itself. But again, Sri Aurobindo goes forward. Thought is an arrow shot at the truth. And we know arrow, and thought is an arrow shot from the truth. It can hit a point, but not the cover the whole target. It will hit only a single point, a particular point, a particular position, but entire target can't be hit by the single arrow. Again, Sri Aurobindo quotes, because it has got its own very limited view, it has got its limitation. And all that the thought suggests to me, I can do. All that thought suggests to me, I can do. All that thought reveals in me, I can become. That is a great thing, great message from the from Sri Aurobindo. All that thought suggests to me, I can do. All that thought reveals to me, I can become. Thought is not essential to existence nor its cause. Thought is not essential to existence already, we have already discussed, but it is an instrument of our becoming. I become what I see in myself. Again, here in the quotes, all the living thought is a world in preparation. All the living thought is a world in preparation. All real act is a thought manifested. That is the difference. All living thought is a world in preparation. All real act, after thought the act comes, is a thought manifested. So these are the great lines. Thought in the mind can be at most the truth's brilliant and transparent garment. Thought in the mind, it can be at most truth's brilliant and transparent garment, but it is not even our body. Only a garment. Garment means we are putting it on the body. It is not the whole thing. It is not the entire body. It can be truth's brilliant and transparent garment. So it has got its limitation, not to be taken as the truth. Sunday Matra.